Hi guys, it's Khandie. I want to talk about something that's called saying no to clients. And one of the big things we don't want to do is say no to clients. And actually I'm going to tell you how it's really beneficial for you to say no, not only for your business, but also for your well-being. So let's just get into it. These are obviously my opinions, but some of these are tried and tested by my fellow photographers who've been in contact when I asked them on my socials what was their tips on saying no. So we'll just do this. Okay, so first of all, saying no should never be seen as a negative thing. It sounds really weird, but you can say no. It's well within your rights. It's your business to say no to somebody. And one thing I have found, particularly after this pandemic sort of, I hate to use that word, but this idea, people are expecting a lot more for their money and tend to be pushing the limits more on what you offer them in a quote. So like I can say from personal experience, I've offered somebody product photography and then they've assumed that I will also go to their business and photograph their entire business production for in the same quote, even though I quoted on product photography, and they're like, oh, but you're bringing the stuff back so you could just take some photos. No, obviously you don't say no. You go, well, that's kind of like for product photography, but I can invoice you or quote you for this. And even still, they seem kind of taken back, and that's when you just have to say, I'm really sorry, I just can't. Obviously there's restrictions in place for certain reasons, but there is just a time when you just have to say no. So when you say no to a client, you're actually telling them that you're just not the fit for them. You're not saying that you hate them and that you don't want to work with them. You're just saying that they're just not the fit for you. And I think that there's this idea that we feel that we need to be one fit for everything, and what it does, it devalues you. You know, you go into a shop and they sell hiking gear and fashion gear. You're like, well, am I going to get the best fashionable gear or am I going to get the best hiking gear? You know, you're going to get like the cusp or the top of it or the mediocre level, one of the two. You're not going to get the best of the best and the best of the best, because it's just not going to work like that. And I think that's the same with photography. You cannot be excellent at everything, and you also can't be business set up for everything. You know, you can offer a service, but you need to know your own capabilities, and sometimes you just say no to a client. And I have found that during recent times, we won't sound the P or the C word, for people have definitely been trying to push quite hard on getting more for their, say, quote that they're getting. So you know, some wedding clients have been like, oh, because we had to reschedule so many times, can we get an album for free? And I'm like, no. One, it's a high value item. Two, you know, you've moved around, I've moved around. Yes, I appreciate this cost and this stress on you, but I am not going to just no. I can offer you an extra hour coverage perhaps, or something else to keep the film, but I'm not going to go over the top and offer you something that's a really high value product as a thing. You know, it's just sometimes you just say no. Also, when a photographer is asked to do something out of the quote, so for example, I've been asked to do some business branding photography, and then while I was there, the client was like, oh, could you do some headshots of these people as well? Well, I brought everything up for the business branding photography for this one person, and then she decided that she wanted a whole team to have headshots. That's a completely different thing. That's a lot more editing. There's a lot more stuff for me to do. And I just said to her, I would rather come back on another day when I've got the equipment for it. It's not as simple as that. You know, I'm doing a little bit more. And I know someone could say, oh, you could really do it. But the idea is, why should I bend over backwards for a client who have already haggled and negotiated a deal for the branding, who then decides that it should be no extra cost and I should just happily chuck it in to do all this headshot photography for the rest of her team? She's getting already a reduced cost for her branding, and now she wants more to be added on top where I'm meant to take the kickback for. And I find that saying no to a client can cause so much anxiety for people. It's not, you don't have to be like a rude no. You say, I'm not the photographer for you, or I'm not able to complete that product for you, I do know somebody who could do this for you, or just be like, I'm really sorry. Or no, not even really sorry. First of all, stop apologizing, just saying, that is not within my remit, that is not something I do, or that is not my forte, my specialty is this and this, you know. And I think having the ability to say no is so important. There are so many times you'll get asked to do something for free, and I really ranted about this. And friends would be like, hi, my kids just had turn 2, why don't you come over, bring your camera? And basically they want a free shoot, but they don't want to pay me, and I'm just like, no. My camera's not my plus one. I don't see anyone else showing up to your party doing a job for free. So why are you expecting it from me? And I think it's because people are so used to people with cameras and such, like claiming to be photographers and offering the shoots for free, that now it's almost like, why wouldn't you do it for free? And that's when you have to put your foot down and say, no, I'm not doing it. You know, when a client mucks you around so many times and genuinely they haven't shown up for shoots on time, or they're being lax in payment, or you kind of have to go, okay, you might have used me 3 times, but I have spent more time sorting out your admin than any of my other clients put together. And you have to go, do you know what? No, you just, no. And when they go, can I book in? You go, yeah, but set the parameters straight. You must pay by this. And then if they don't go, hi, I haven't received it, so unfortunately I will have to allow your slot out. And then they can get annoyed, but you've set the parameters from the boundaries. Learning to say no and rejecting a client is just as important as accepting a client. But I just think we have a right to, and a right to ourselves and our business to learn to say no. Saying no to jobs that we don't want to do. Saying, and I know that everyone goes, oh, but I've got bills to pay. Yes, you have bills to pay, but this is my bugbear. If you have bills to pay, why are you reducing your prices to get that job that's going to cost you so much more time to do? So effectively, you're going to end up having to owe yourself more money in order to complete that job. That is not how you do business. It might be easier for you to say no to the job, not do the job at all, than do the job and have to end up paying out on the job because you haven't completely earned enough to do that job. I just think learning to say no in business and knowing your value in business is so important to maintaining that business. And I know this is wordy and you're all like, whatever, Khandie, but you know, we're so quick to say yes because we're so desperate to earn that money, but what we're not looking at is actually what it costs us when we don't say no. Are we working with clients that are going to cause us more aggro? Are we working with clients that are going to cause us more administration time? Are we working with clients who've never bought from us before and now they're insisting on extras for nothing and they haven't invested us in it already? You know, there's a whole point why there's loyalty cards, because you go back to that store and reuse them, and over time you get discounts or complimentary items. The fact is that somebody needs to be using you and being a good customer before you decide to give them complimentary stuff, not them deciding. They can ask, but you need to have the power of conviction to say no. One of the key points in business is learning when to say no and that you're not going to do it. And that comes down to knowing who your client is, knowing what your cost of business is. That one is the most important, knowing what your cost of doing business is, what it costs you to get up in the morning, to go to that job, to do that work, literally knowing it down to the penny, the cent, wherever you are, right? And having some self-respect. And it sounds weird, because you are not there to be someone's skivvy. You are there to provide a service, a highly skilled service. I hope this helped. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell button. Let me know what you feel about saying no to clients below. And I'll see you all real soon. Bye, guys.